Whether it's being scooped up from the evil stepmom and stepsisters or finally being woken up with a kiss, most of us grow up with fairy tales promising we too will get saved from the darker aspects of who we are and the lives we lead. We grow up and keep waiting for that promise to finally come to fruition. We place so much pressure on our partners or even the prospect of one, expecting them to be the source of all of our happiness and inner peace, anticipating that they will be the sole reason we now finally feel loved and worthy, and believing that our future now finally has a fulfilling, clear, and crisp picture. Unfortunately, many of us are left feeling disappointed or fooled. We enter new relationships only to discover that our partners are also imperfect and not solely placed on this earth to cater to our every need or to mend every broken corner of our mind. We finally cave in, or we cross that relationship off as they just weren't the one. I'm not proposing you change your life's philosophy or your dreams and goals of meeting that one person and creating a life with them. But wherever you go, there you are. There is not one moment you will spend not being in your own presence. What if we're going around looking for the one, talking about the one, wishing for that person who will swoop us up and finally take care of us in the way that we've always wanted to be cared for, only to find it right in that mirror staring back at us? And while that might be a scary thought full of responsibility or even dread, it can turn into the most comforting and inspiring one of all. So I ask you one simple question: what if you are the one you've always been looking for? Instead of spending so much of your time and energy looking for the one, focus instead on becoming the one. So I propose a simple but not so easy yet life-changing quest of date yourself. If you were dating someone new, you would probably spend a lot of time getting to know them. You might try something new that they love. You might go on trips so your connection grows. So treat yourself in that way. Explore who you are on a deeper level. Take yourself out on nice dates. Buy yourself flowers. Take yourself on that trip you've always wanted to go on. Celebrate your wins. Try new hobbies and learn something new to expand your knowledge of who you are and what you like. And most of all, care and love for yourself in ways that are most meaningful to you. When you're having a bad day, for example, what would you expect your loved ones to do for you? Then go ahead and do that for yourself. Or when you want a loving gesture or just some reassurance after a long and hard day, find meaningful ways to give that to yourself. Of course, this is not about becoming the person who doesn't need anyone. Relationships of any kind are one of the most beautiful and meaningful parts of our lives, so we're not replacing them. We're simply adding the world of comfort and love that no one can ever take away. It's important that we are able to rely on ourselves and take care of ourselves because no one knows how to do that better than you. No one knows all of your stories, your memories, experiences, and feelings as intimately as you do. You can show people how to love and treat you, but it's hard to do that if you yourself don't even know how to do it yet. Good morning, guys. It is actually a little bit later. We've had a bit of a day already. Did some Pilates, had my little morning routine. We've done it all. So now, obviously getting ready. There's one thing I wanted to chat to you guys about that I feel like is so important, and it's definitely like a trap that I fell into when I first started like healing and self-development and just kind of starting to love myself. I really used to hate myself. Like, I am not exaggerating. I used to think I am the scum of the earth, that like I didn't have any self-worth. I thought everything was my fault. Like, I had so much shame and guilt. I was super like motivated and I really wanted to like change my life and, you know, heal the traumas and all the like fun little things that happened to me in my life, and just be better, you know? And like when I put my mind to something, there is nothing or no one that's gonna stop me. So I went all out. Like, I did therapy once a week. This was when I was like 15 or 16. And I did so much research at home. I bought books, I did all the exercises. Like, I really threw myself into it. And I'm so glad I did, because I really found my passion in it, and I like moved mountains basically for my like mental state. So no regrets there, but I did fall into the trap of like fixing things. There's a thin line of like, you know, healing and doing things for yourself and then just plainly trying to fix things in the disguise of this is like self-love and self-development, but it's actually because you don't feel like you're good enough and you think that you never will be until you fix all these things. And it's obviously good to feel responsible for your own well-being, because at the end of the day you are responsible for that. But do you know those people that are like criticizing you all the time, like someone close to you, maybe it's a family member, maybe you have a friend like that, or you used to, where like they love you so much that they criticize everything, like you should be doing this better, and like I love you and that is why I'm telling you this and that. That's kind of the same thing that I was doing to myself, like I love you so much, so you should be doing this and this, and you didn't do this well, and like you need to move more towards this, and you're not good enough with this, and we need to fix that. Like it just got to a point where it was just too much, and that is not self-loving. Like that is a very manipulative, like roundabout way of hating yourself through the disguise of I'm doing this for self-development and self-love. And it took me a while to figure that out because I wasn't aware of this. So just be mindful of that. If it ever gets complicated or you're just like, I don't know anymore, just go back to the basics of like chasing your joy and happiness. It sounds so stupid and like cringy, but that's what it boils down to. Like just when you're making decisions, when you're deciding what to do in your free time or whatever, ask yourself, what would someone who loves themselves do? And then honor whatever answer you get. If that's someone who loves themselves would go on a walk right now because they've been inside all day and that doesn't feel good, go for a walk. You know, and usually the first answer that comes up is the right one. This is from the book, I think it's called How to Love Yourself. I always have it linked in my Amazon storefront along with all the other books that really helped me out, if you want to check those out. But yeah, that is such like an easy tip. So if you ever get confused or you get too hard on yourself, especially if you're a perfectionist, this is such like a big trap we can fall into, me included. And sometimes you just need to go back to the basics, you know. Alrighty, I'm gonna finish getting dressed, and if I ask myself what would someone who loves themselves do right now, is I would do some work and do something that I really love, which is make a new Notion little template board. So that's what I'm gonna go do because it's work technically, but it also makes me really happy. So let's do that. I've been working here for a little while and now I'm gonna go on a little walk because it's kind of midday, and I always like to do that, just even when I'm working, just finding little parts of my day where I get to be more mindful and take some time out for myself. Obviously it's harder on some days than it is on others. We all get busy, we all have a full life, so I totally get that it's not like possible for everyone to have a full day of just doing things to love themselves, you know. It's not really realistic for me either. But yeah, I do like to incorporate these like self-loving, mindful things into my day just so I can like continue to take care of myself and prioritize that, and just keep feeling good. And that also helps me to like keep going when it comes to work stuff because I'm not burnt out, so it's also productive. But yeah, I'm gonna take a little walk by the sea, breathe some fresh air, maybe get some flowers. I've been thinking of getting a little bouquet for myself. I might do that if they have some nice ones. Taking care of yourself is a constant art piece. It keeps changing and evolving as you get to know yourself and your needs better. But throughout all of it, like an artist working on a painting or a sculpture, it requires your presence. Call it a soft life, call it a walking meditation or a practice of mindfulness. All it is to me is just spending more and more of your free time honoring what you want and being present while doing it. Making room for those small, simple things like rearranging your home or decorating, going to the market to pick up some fresh veggies, or playing your favorite music while making a new dessert. It's things like making a cup of tea and turning on your candles while reading, walking instead of driving to your friend's house for some dinner, and maybe getting some flowers for her along the way. All of it happens when you are being present, and it's all about prioritizing your joy, and that can be done in truly the smallest of ways. I don't really believe that if you can't love yourself, you can't love anyone else. What I do believe, though, is that the quality of your relationships drastically improves once you move towards taking care of yourself the way you need to. You get familiar with what you need and what you want. You can create boundaries that don't feel like you're cosplaying as someone who is finally confident and self-assured, but you put them in place simply to protect the relationship that you've built for yourself. Your standards naturally rise because why would you let someone tarnish the beautiful, happy life that you've built for yourself? You start to understand your worth, and then others start to see it as well. It's not something you even need to communicate or convince people of. It just radiates off of you. You're connected to yourself to the point where you no longer understand how you could ever live your life inauthentically ever again, and you don't have to ask for others' feedback on how to live your life anymore. It is yours, and it is precious, and you fundamentally understand that it might be the only one. And most importantly, you now know for a fact that doing all of that for yourself has been the best investment of your time and energy you could have ever made. When I first started my self-love healing journey, I was so scared that I'm gonna be selfish, like a bad friend, just the worst person on the planet, right? Because I now am trying to pour all this energy into myself, and I'm my number one priority, and I make choices for myself first and foremost. And I used to think that that would just make me the worst person ever and like a narcissist. And I really like this analogy. I heard it or read it, I don't know, years ago, and it just made an impression and it's still in my mind. So imagine that every single person is a cup, and these cups are placed right next to each other, so close that they can't tip over. So the only way you can give into another cup is for your own cup to overflow. Imagine the happiest people, imagine the people who really just you feel like have their lives together, like they've figured it out. They're happy, they're loved by themselves, by the people around them, like they are just thriving. Those are the type of people, sure, they have boundaries, they're not just gonna let any bullshit in, because you've got to protect what you've built. Just like if you built this amazing house, of course you would have some sort of security system, or at least a fence or something. You have to learn how to do that. I'll link a video that I made all about this down below. But they are the people who are not selfish because they don't feel like they're losing something by giving something to you. It doesn't feel like something's getting ripped away from them. It's just like, I have, this amount of energy left over because I'm happy, I feel amazing, I give to myself. And everything that I have over, I'm willing and happy to give because that makes me feel even better, And I really just had to realize that as I went along, and I just saw how my relationships changed and how much better they were. And I really encourage you to try it out. Just choose 3 months, and in those 3 months, you're gonna be selfish, and you're gonna focus on yourself first and foremost and your own happiness, and make the decisions and the choices you want to make for yourself and the life that you want. Test it out. And if you feel like you're a raging narcissist, which I promise you won't just randomly become, it's a personality disorder. It doesn't just happen by you focusing on yourself. Just see how you feel. See how your life changes, how your relationships improve, and then you can decide for yourself if that's something you want to continue doing. We all have that vulnerable part of ourselves that never fully grew up. It's that sensitive part stuck in our past memories that weren't so easy to stomach. While we were growing up, there were so many parts of us that we felt were rejected, and we then discarded or hid away in the hopes of finally being loved and accepted. To me, the truest form of self-love is re-owning these parts. It's putting them back up to the surface and proudly embracing them. It's treating ourselves with the care, understanding, and acceptance we may have never fully felt before. It's taking care of our needs as if we were little kids we are now in charge of parenting. It's taking that little child's hand, promising and showing them that they are never going to be forgotten again.